Hi Orchard, Allison here. Good to be with you this week. Recently I went out to a meal with friends on a Friday night. There was four of us and we decided to do the set meal for four. And it was a lot of food. We only ended up eating a portion of it, and when I say the word abundance, that's what I mean. There was an abundance of food. We learned our lesson. We can't order that set meal again. But a lot of fun, a lot of food, abundance of food. It made me think of a passage from the Bible that I read recently as I'm going through Mark personally. And it's from Mark 6, the feeding of the 5,000. Now, this can be found in all the Gospels, but this is where I'm going to pick up for us. And I just want to share a few thoughts that actually have come to mind, but also that I read in a recent commentary that just has made me think. So Jesus has sent his disciples out to do ministry. They're coming back and telling stories to Jesus of what went on. They're actually intending to go off and have some rest and quiet, but crowds keep on coming and coming. And it says in this passage in Mark 6 that Jesus had compassion on them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he sat down and taught them many things. I'm going to pick up and read from verse 35 to 44. So it says, after teaching late in the afternoon, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a desolate place and it's getting late. Send the crowds away so that they can go to the nearby farms and villages and buy themselves food." But Jesus said, "You feed them." With what they asked, it would take a small fortune to buy food for all of this crowd. How much food do you have? He asked. "Go and find out." They came back and reported, "We have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish." Then Jesus told the crowd to sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat in groups of 50 or 100. Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish and looked up towards heaven and asked God's blessing on the food. Breaking the loaves into pieces, he kept giving the bread and fish to the disciples to give to the people. They all ate as much as they wanted, and they picked up 12 baskets of leftover bread and fish. 5,000 men had eaten those 5 loaves. Now we know it would have been a greater number there because you would have had the women and children with them. So what thoughts? This is probably a familiar story, familiar miracle in your mind, but the 3 things that have struck me recently, thinking and reading this commentary was, firstly, what faith or maybe trepidation the disciples must have had when Jesus said, okay, get the people, or Jesus gave instructions, get them to sit down in groups. This huge crowd of people, end of the day, are hungry, and they're given instructions to sit down in groups. And the disciples are probably thinking, why are we doing this? We don't have enough food to feed all these people. It makes me think of sometimes in life, we hear clear instructions from God to step out in faith and do something, but it might feel foolish or crazy, audacious, or maybe we're just afraid of what it will look like because we have yet to see the miracle happen. We have yet to see the miracle happen, but we step out in faith, trusting what Jesus has said. So that's the first point. Sometimes we're asked to do things, or we sense in our spirit we should make a decision to move forward when the miracle has not yet been seen. Sit down in groups and there's no food around. That's my first thought. My second thought is, and actually different versions, I'm reading from the NLT, different versions say this in different ways, but I love how the NLT says it. Looking again in verse 41, it says, breaking the loaves into pieces, he kept on giving the bread and fish to the disciples to give to the people. And very simply, I see here a process of dependency on God. Jesus kept on giving the food to the disciples, and the disciples would give it to the people. The miracle, all the grand work, all that we can write home about flowed from Jesus. And I think it's just a reminder for you. It's been a reminder for me that in times of trusting, even in times where we're seeing miracles happen or we're in celebration, it's not about us. And to fully see all that God is revealing, we've got to stay connected to him. It's about him. Life and breath and goodness flows from God. It's not about us. Jesus passed on the food, and then the disciples were able to give it out. They were staying connected to Jesus. Maybe that's an encouragement for you today. Last little thing, verse 42 and 43. They ate as much as they wanted, and they picked up 12 baskets of leftover bread and fish. And different readings of this in the different gospels indicate that the disciples picked that up. And I don't know, it's just a reminder that even in the midst of great things or faith steps, or we're experiencing the goodness of life and God, sometimes the mundane intersects with that. And our faithful service is a part of the miracle. So after seeing this, the disciples had to do the back, maybe breaking work of leaning down and picking up all the extra food that was left. 12 baskets fulls, and that would have been a lot. This was a big crowd. They've just seen something miraculous. They're tired. We started this little story with Jesus was trying to get them off to rest, but at the end of it, they had work to do. And sometimes our faith steps and our experiencing the goodness of God or the miracles or how he's doing, not only do we experience that, but we're also called to work. There's extra things that we have to do. And sometimes it's very mundane, unseen work. And for some of us, we might need to hear that as we wait for the miracle, as we step out of faith, there might be a role in continuing the mundane, faithful, everyday stuff that is servanthood, goodness that we are called to. Father, thanks for your scripture and how we can learn and see who Jesus was and is, and we want to be more like Jesus. I pray that you would just help us learn, take away anything you would have us learn or take away from this passage or this thought today. Continue to equip us, help us be strengthened in hope as we trust you daily. And as we wait for the miraculous to happen or we step out in faith, may we know that as we stay connected to you, life will come and that you're working even in the mundane.